Today we are going to listen to a Dharma talk from our dear practitioner, Kathy. Dharma name Won-ji-yeon. The title is Honesty on the Path to Freedom. Please join your palms together and let us greet Kathy.
I'm so grateful to be here with all of you, and I am grateful to talk about this subject of honesty. This may be the most difficult subject I think that I've ever discussed in a Dharma talk, because I believe that to do it genuinely, I can only use, I can't speak with authority, only humanity. So, which is why I'm sort of full of stories today, and I want to share a memory with you all. It happened 1 week in my life over many years ago, and it's been coming up for me because I honestly didn't understand it. I didn't realize how thoroughly it was going to affect me and change my life until recently. So it began at the beginning of the week when my son Sai was 3 years old. And we were in Walmart, and we walked through the clothing section, and Sai let go of my hand for just a moment, and I turned around, and he was gone. It was the amount of terror I can't explain. All parents know what that might feel like when your child is missing. And he was nowhere. I just ran around, in a panic, kind of, looking for Sai, saying, Sai, Sai. A few moments later, I heard, Mommy. He was actually hiding in the middle of the clothing rack. So fun. So I ran over to him and I picked him up and held him. And I just cried, so relieved. A few days later, I had to go back to the same store and I had to pass the same section, but this time I was with my brother. And I decided that I would stop and I would kneel down and I would say, Sai, what will happen if you hide in there again, if you get lost again? And he looked at me really seriously and he said, I don't know, it's a mystery. That's what he said. Which of course I thought was really funny. Somewhat funny. I said to him, yes, it's a mystery, but please don't do that again, okay? And he said, okay. But then when I stood up, I looked at my brother, and my brother was also laughing. But Sai's words have had a heavy impact. It's a mystery, because the next day we were waiting to receive my brother's test results from the doctor to find out how sick he was. So that night, when I went home and I went to sleep, I had a dream. And the dream, I was walking through the airport and I had my arms open. And I was walking past the hangar and all of the planes outside of the window. I could see all the planes by the gate and all the people. And I was singing a song. I was singing a country song, which I don't really listen to country music. I don't really sing country music, but dreams are funny like that. So this song is about a man who was diagnosed with a terminal illness. And his friend asked him, so what did you do? What did you do when you found out? And he answers him, and I'm going to sing it for you, because you might recognize it. And the man says, this was my dream, and he says, I went skydiving, I went Rocky Mountain climbing, I went 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu. And I loved deeper, and I spoke sweeter, and I gave forgiveness I've been denying. And he said, someday I hope you get the chance to live like you were dying. So I held that song with me the whole day when I woke up. And later that day, I heard the doctor say to my brother, he said, I'm sorry, Mr. Nefi, but you have an inoperable pancreatic tumor, and there's not much we can do. I sunk into my seat, and I cried. And I felt that same feeling that I had when I lost Sai. That same fear and loss and terror. But this time I heard the song in the back of my mind. I heard it, and it said, someday I hope you get the chance to live like you were dying. See, my brother, he didn't go skydiving, and he didn't climb any mountains. He didn't ride any bulls. But what he did was more miraculous. He didn't hide. He didn't hide from any one single moment ever. When he had doubt, he shared it. And it was like dripping in love. It was amazing. And when he was afraid, he didn't hide. It was like so much honesty and gratitude. You couldn't feel sorry for him. No one could feel sorry for him. You could just stand in awe of him. I still stand in awe of him. Because there was more life in his dying than I have ever seen. So the thing is that in my brother's deep honesty and acceptance of the moment as it is, he shared an understanding with all the great masters that have ever lived. With Master Soto-san, who's the scriptures will show you that there's no hiding. There's honesty on the path. There's no hiding the difficulty. There's no hiding the suffering. There's no hiding how he got there. It's not an instant of magic. And I think it's important for us as practitioners, as people, to know that no one needs us to be perfect. No one needs us to have false modesty or be the good practitioner, right? The perfect seed and the perfect chanting and no one needs us to do that. And no one needs us to feel alone because we can't share who we really are or the struggles that we're dealing with. I think we throw an immovable wall in our path that blocks us from ever waking to our true nature if we cannot be honest. I really think this makes the difference between waking and not waking, the trust and the honesty. True compassion and empathy will always be just out of our reach. And the scriptures tell us, Master Soto-san tells us, every image is a Buddha image, every act is a Buddha offering. But we have ignorance when we try to contrive the image we wish to see or be the image we think we need to be. It's all a mystery, right? And the image, the Buddha image, is what it is, just as it is. It's only when we try to make it different that we suffer. Which is the reason why, this subject has been foremost on my mind. This whole year, I really did feel like my practice had reached this new state of peacefulness. I did. It was like Rebbe always talks about the ocean and the waves, and there's a calmness. Well, I felt like I was lying on a raft on that ocean, and, blue sky, just riding the waves, pretty much. And then about a month ago, an angry storm came by and pushed me right off my raft into the raging sea. It was dark. But thank God. Thank God for the storm. So I want to share that I hit a very dark place in my practice. I thought, what am I doing? I'm working so hard. And what if I can never help anyone? What if I'll never be able to fulfill the aspiration that I have had since as long as I can remember? And I was frustrated, and I felt unappreciated, and I felt angry, really angry. And I haven't felt that kind of anger in, I don't remember, honestly. So I was about to work with it and practice with it when I noticed something. I noticed that I was about to hide. I realized I was going to conceptualize and discriminate against the moment, against the anger. However, not wanting the anger meant that I was choosing to hide. So I decided that I would fall in instead. I didn't try to fix it or figure it out. I just stayed. I fought for it, actually. It was a war. I fought to stay. Which sounds odd, I think. I'll be honest, it was hard. And thankfully, I have an amazing support system, which is the way that we can be honest, right? I have the incredible women's circle and all my Dharma friends and my teachers. And mind journaling class, my mind journals. But I realized soon that if I allowed the disturbance, there was no disturbance. Didn't mean the emotion or the arising mind was actually gone, but there was no disturbance. What I mean is that the peace I had was still there. It was interesting to me. The peace was still there, but the anger was there too at the same time. And that was brand new. I never equated that the two could exist simultaneously. I never equated really that there weren't two. So I realized how deluded I had been by this particular idea of separation. Over 3 weeks, I wrote 4 mind journals. And after the last one, I just sat. And something happened. I've always had the same sort of mantra, and that mantra is, have I done all I can? Have I done all I can? But I heard that mantra change. I just heard it spontaneously change. In my mind was, are you ready to die? And it really surprised me. But that's what this practice asks of us, really. To die before we die. To die to our attachments and discriminations. To the one mind itself, even. One moment at a time. To die to wanting to look a certain way. It asks us to come here with an open heart, like Venerable Juksanim keeps telling us, be open-hearted. And that's all I wrote, really. But I will close. That's all I wrote because I wanted to just sit here in a little bit of honesty, maybe. And I love this community. I really do. I think each of us has to come in and sort of claim our true nature. But I hope that everyone knows that this is our refuge. This is the place we come that we can trust, that we will not be judged, that we will be held, that we can share who we are, that it's essential that we do that. To our Dharma friends, if we can't, to the ministers who will never have a moment of judgment. Being who we are is our birthright. But we have to believe it's possible, and we have to be honest with ourselves. This is how I feel, at least. And last thing is, if there is, I'm always here too. And I will never judge you. So if you want to talk about your practice, or we want to talk and discuss anything, we can do that as a community. And the last thing I hope and I wish for all of us is that someday we get the chance to live like we are dying. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Kathy, for introducing us the theme of honesty. And I hear that word honesty as in acceptance. And I guess our practice can be reshaped by